In today's video, I talked to Pauline McFadden. Pauline's an inspirational woman who is working tirelessly to make sure her daughter Caitlin can enjoy her passion for music without barriers. We talk about Caitlin's story, Pauline's work, and about music therapy and how it benefits Caitlin. Welcome, Pauline. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you so much for joining me, particularly because this is my first filming. So I'm so pleased that it's a friend here doing it with me, so thank you. And we're here to talk about music and music therapy because I know music is one of your big passions, and also Caitlin's, your daughter.
Yes.
So we're here to find out about Caitlin's music love and also the benefits that she gets out of music therapy. So first off, tell me a little bit about Caitlin.
Caitlin is 8 years old. She is fun, loving, adventurous. She's got a zest for life that kind of she touches anybody who ever meets her. She's well remembered,
Yeah.
which is lovely.
So how did you know when Caitlin was first well into music?
From a very young age. Unfortunately, Caitlin was an unsettled baby. She suffered from reflux. She spent 5 weeks in hospital when she was first born, and I think she really struggled with being detached from myself. And I've always loved music, it's helped settle me. So when Caitlin's quite upset, I used to put on the likes of Alison Moyet, Tracy Chapman, Fleetwood Mac, and sit on an exercise ball and just bounce with her. And then just as time progressed, we just realised actually how significant music was. When she was 18 months old, she had an MRI scan and she took a reaction to the anaesthetic. We had to rush her into hospital, and the nurses were saying, what will settle her? We're like, music. Put Radio 1 on and we saw very quickly actually how the music was starting to settle her, and we were like, this is significant in her life.
Yeah. Live music is important for Caitlin.
Yes.
Obviously, and for you too.
Definitely. So Butte Fest was our first one. We decided, let's try it and see how she is. From that we took her to Mugstock. From there we then had our Caitlin's gig.
Yes, so I want to hear all about that. How did that come about? Tell us.
It came about through, I had got Caitlin into Nordoff Robbins music therapy about 4.5 years ago, and I was asked to give a talk at the Scottish Parliament on the benefits of music therapy. And I spoke about the kind of barriers that children face, and it's something that actually I'd been quite ignorant to, despite being to hundreds of gigs. Wheelchair users were stuck up the back, and having Caitlin actually has opened my eyes. So I gave this talk and this man came up to me at the end and said, well, you know, that was a great talk, what do you want? And I said, I want an inclusive gig. And he was like, well, how do we do that? And I was like, you knock the barriers down and you have everybody all together. Unbeknown to me, it was Jim Taylor who sits on the board of Nordoff Robbins. I thought it was all chat to start with, but we ended up holding this gig, and the O2 ABC in Glasgow came on board with us.
That's not a small location.
No,
that's a proper music venue.
Proper music venue, and you know what? The staff were absolutely amazing and all for an inclusive gig, and they supported us, so we were very lucky. I've
got goosebumps because that's such an exciting thing to have done. So you mentioned a few times that you used that word inclusive. What does that mean for you with regard to something like a music gig?
For me, an inclusive gig is one where not just our children, anybody who are living with a disability can go to the toilet. It's an accessible toilet, that there were no wheelchair users up the back. They were all very much involved. It wasn't just for people with disabilities, it was a family event.
Yes.
Anybody could go, regardless of your age, your ability. That's what total inclusiveness meant for me. What
sort of barriers do you anticipate with going to a mainstream concert?
When I took Caitlin to Mugstock, it was really good. The organiser of that, I fed back to him that it wasn't easy to find an accessible toilet. I kind of feel that when it comes to the festivals, they are inclusive.
Yes.
It's just that finer detail.
And I think what I'm hearing as well is that a lot of that progress that's being made is because people like yourselves are taking the time to approach venues and organisations and say, hey guys, you know, if you could do this would make it much easier for me and my daughter to come to these events, and doing it in the right kind of way. What sort of advice can you give to people if they want to make those approaches to organisations?
Yeah, I think when I reflect back on the first few years of Caitlin's life, you can fall into this trap of being negative, of feeling that you're up against barriers. And I've kind of tried to change my thinking and go, do you know what, it's not a barrier, it's about educating. So it's just that different conversation and approaching and saying, this is what we'd like to have, this is what we would need. Is this viable? I think we can be judgmental as well. We ask people not to be judgmental of us, but we can also be judgmental. Yeah. So I think it's just being a bit self-aware. And most places I've found actually are very accommodating just when you speak to them, because I think there is that whole fear thing where people don't want to approach and seem like they're insulting you. You don't want that, and it's just overcoming those kind of unseen barriers.
Yes. You also mentioned earlier Nordoff Robbins.
Yes.
Who are they?
Nordoff Robbins provide music therapy, so they go into schools, hospices, they also have their base that we go to. So you've got Nordoff Robbins Scotland and you've got their sister service in England and Wales, but they're now amalgamating. Caitlin receives a 40-minute session and the blocks are in blocks of 10, so she'll have 10 sessions for 10 weeks. And do you know what, everybody's different, so yeah, it's worked for Caitlin, it might not work for somebody else. It's just about looking at your child, knowing your child and listening to them and seeing what works for them.
I'll be the slight devil's advocate here, because I know there are some people that might say, oh, it's just another way of adding therapy to the end of something that we all enjoy, to give someone an excuse to charge you money for it. So what do you think music therapy adds to Caitlin's life that maybe just accessing music like the rest of us do doesn't?
The difference between music and music therapy for Caitlin is actually quite stark. It's so noticeable. So for her love of music, she will just, like I said, she'll sit with my dad and they'll put music on and she'll sing with myself as well in the car. You hear her vocalising now, and she enjoys the music. When she's in music therapy, she is learning about instruments. She's learning where those instruments came from. I've worked with Claire to look at Caitlin's fear of sudden noises. So Claire has managed to introduce a mic into the sessions. Claire can get away with more than what we can, and it's that kind of tailored outlook for Caitlin. So it's pretty much, she is learning how to play these instruments. It's working on her fine motor skills. It's bringing speech and language and physio into the one room, but in an enjoyable way. So there is differences there. It's not just at home music is done to Caitlin. A CD is put on and she decides. At music therapy is all about Caitlin, and Caitlin navigates her way through that and guides Claire now, and Claire listens.
Yeah, fantastic. I think we should also point out that there are lots of different ways of accessing music therapy. I think there are other organisations and individuals who will provide music therapy, and I'll put some links down below as to different organisations that you can contact. So tell me, what are your future plans? Because you've obviously had great success with organising the inclusive gig. Have you got anything else on the cards?
Our future plans hopefully are to make Caitlin's gig a charity, so that we can continue to hold inclusive gigs, which will support us for funding application, and I'll hopefully keep taking Caitlin to gigs.
Well, we're very lucky to have people like yourselves, because that's what's making the difference for everybody else who wants to access this venue. So well done you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for giving your time and coming and talking to me. And I've learnt loads, and I'm sure everybody else has as well.
Thank you.